Hey, okay, let me say something that might sting just a little bit. Okay, so most functional medicine clinics don't necessarily have a marketing problem. They have what they call a follow up leak. So if your follow up is held together by inbox checking or sticky notes, memory, and you're losing patients you've already paid to earn, here's where the worst part comes in. You don't notice it until your schedule gets way too busy, then everything starts slipping. Okay, so today I want to show you how the simplest system you can install will help stop that leak. And every lead has one next step owned by one person on a specific due date. That's it, simple fix. So, quick story here. I worked with a doctor recently, and I'll keep this anonymous for certain reasons, but great clinician, patients loved him. People were interested in raising their hand, saying they want to learn more about the functional medicine aspect in their clinic. They'd say stuff like, "Hey, I'm interested," or, "Can you tell me the pricing? Can I book with you now?" Or, "I need to talk to my spouse," those kind of things. But behind the scenes, everything was running on mental RAM with this clinician, just overwhelmed and doing too much. So the process was basically like this: I'll reply later. I'll reply tomorrow. Let me check my inbox sometime again later. So when the clinic got even more busy, because that's what happens when clinics, what clinics do, the follow-up pretty much disappeared. And this was happening not because this clinician was, necessarily purposely being lazy or anything like that. It's just because there was no system in order. And this is kind of what we call like the patient, journey. We want to make sure that nothing's falling through the cracks. So this is not necessarily a marketing problem. This is more of a patient flow problem. So here's what's really true. Patients don't really flake on you because they're, mad or frustrated or, think there's something better. They typically do because here's, the reality of it. Life's going to be busy. Their urgency with their program with you is going to fade. They get more distracted, kids, activities in school, stuff like that. Or they probably just need more reassurance on or before they're kind of committed to your process. So if you follow up, or if your follow-up depends on someone, remembering or getting to it when they can, that's when you don't really have a follow-up. That's just going to be more of hope. And, if it depends on your memory, or if it depends on your mood, then that's typically not a system. And this happens more often than you think. Providers they either worry about, I need more leads in the top end. They spend more on ads, and because they want that influx of money. But when there's no follow-up process, it gets way too chaotic and things get very, very sloppy. And that's where we start losing patients and a reputation, which is not what we want to have. Okay. So here's kind of the shift I want you to think about. You need something what's called stages, right? So clear stages. Your team always knows what's happening next, or if it's just you, what's happening next and where each patient is located. So use a stage kind of like this. You'll have, let's say, think of buckets, right? So new interest. You have a nurture bucket, a scheduled, like a intro call schedule, onboarding plan. Maybe they're in the care plan program. That's a bucket. Maybe there's a review that needs to happen. That's another bucket. And then finally, like a continuity or maintenance plan. I think it's nice to have these buckets separated because you're going to be able to have structure as where each patient is. And what's the point of this? You're going to give a great experience for the patient. You're going to look very much in control and in charge. And I think in this day and age, that's what patients are looking for, more leadership. Because let's be honest, patients can get labs anywhere. Patients can get supplements anywhere. They even have AI now you could probably just use. But most patients I know are not going to rely on AI so much as their doctor. But they are going to rely on someone they can trust and believe in, and it's going to give them the right outcome and the right process. Okay, so let's make this more practical here. So without stages, everything is kind of just like an in progress mode. Okay, and this in progress mode is where all your new potential leads or patients just kind of like fizzle out and die. But when you have stages set up, you can look at your clinic and instantly see, all right, who is stuck, where are they at, and where do they need to go next. So picture being able to see, oh, this person is still in the onboarding phase. Actually, we got to get them started and put them in the new starting phase. Okay. So if you don't define maybe what stages that your patients are in, and where, you know, they're stuck or need more help. You don't know how to fix it. You don't know where the bottlenecks are. And I gotta tell you right now, this is super helpful, not only for you, my solo doctors out there, it's a lot of work to juggle. And I think even with adding, let's say 5 new patients, that's almost too much because there's so much to juggle. And when do I email? What did I say? Where are they at? Did they get the onboarding packet? But if you have a team or a staff, or even if you delegate out, this makes it so much easier, so much simpler. And that's where I want to get you, because that's what's going to make your clinic successful and your functional medicine experience successful. So this is kind of a rule that changes everything. Every lead and every patient must have one next action, okay? Not 3, not, you know, we'll follow up whenever or call us when you're ready. One next action, okay? So, and they need to have an owner, like who's responsible for the next action, and it might be you because you're it. But get in the habit of putting that down. I can tell you right now, when you set up these things initially, as you grow, it gets a lot simpler and more manageable. And because let's be honest, the clinics we work with, patients need functional medicine. They need and they're looking for this preventative care. And once they start moving that ball down the field, things grow really quick. And that's great for the doctors because yes, they're making more revenue, they're freeing up their time. But what I don't want them to see, and this is me personally, I don't want to see doctors get so busy that it's just now a cluster and it's so complicated and difficult, which just kind of makes doctors more frustrated. So you need an owner and you need a due date. Like, when is this going to happen? Just put that in there. So you can say, like, here's a couple examples I wrote down. I wanted to say, you can say text, hey, Sarah, my front desk support. She's going to text patient with this link today at 3. Or James is one of our med techs, okay? He's going to call to answer some questions the new patients might have. He's going to do this on Tuesdays, starting at 10 a.m. Maybe sending nurture email sequences. Ideally, they're automated, but when do they start? They start now, so we can get maybe an automation drip going so they're always engaged, okay? So if there's no next action, people are typically going to fall in kind of a black hole. And that's when you need to tell yourself, oh, now we need more leads again. Or I need to do more marketing. Or what I always see is, hey, I need to spend more money on ads, which don't do that right now. That's just a lot of work. So you don't need all that yet. You need just fewer kind of black holes where these patients fall. So here are going to be some common leaks that I see in practitioners' clinics when I talk with them, okay? So there's like no clear next step after someone shows interest, or let's say they shows interest, like what's the next step? What do they do? Discovery call, do you just say, hey, sign up for some labs, we'll get something done, or fill out this paperwork? What's the documented next step? I've seen a few docs that use their actual inbox for communication, which becomes a mess. Okay, so that's a lot of leaks that are falling through the cracks. Probably no consistent nurture process is another one that's a big deal. We got to know specifically where our interested patients lie and where they're at. Or there's no reminders assigned, no pipeline stages, so nobody can see where patients are stuck. No reactivation process when patients, let's say, are done or they're more quiet, they don't engage with the clinic. So I need to say this clearly if I can. This is not really going to be a discipline problem on your part, because adding more to your plate does not make you more disciplined to juggle it. Like, no one's going to win a bunch of awards for juggling more garbage. It's more of a system problem. And in my experience, in my clinics, exposures, and working with other doctors, if this is set up right, it will work out well to your favor. But you got to have the system set up, or else, like I said, you get too busy and flustered and you start making mistakes, you say the wrong thing, you confuse people with other patients, and they have a bad experience and they're going to find it somewhere else. Okay, so if the system's going to rely on a heroic staff member having the perfect day all the time, that's really not gonna work. You know, life's going to get too busy. So this is exactly where or why we built a done for you patient flow system. Okay, so this is not to add more complexity to everything, but to install a simple engine so people don't fall through those cracks and you have more leaks. Okay, so the outcome, we want it to look like this. We want a consistent follow-up without remembering, take it out of your head. We want visible stages so nothing disappears. We don't know where Mrs. Jones landed. We know she bought something, but we're not sure where. We want to close up those leaks. We want less kind of inbox flooding. Lots of inbox messaging to me tells patients are confused, aren't sure the next step. So we got to either delegate it or take it off your plate. But we want more of that predictable patient flow as well, okay? So if you want to see what this looks like in a real clinic, or you're starting out functional medicine, you're implementing it, or you've been doing this a while and you're kind of stuck or not knowing how to maximize where you're at, go ahead and message us or DM Clarity Quiz. You can DM us at our Instagram or Facebook, but also in the messages below, you can always put Clarity Quiz, and we'll go ahead and send you something that you can take really quick. Takes 3 minutes, but it's going to kind of give you and me, honestly, a idea where your number one bottleneck is. And what we try to do and how we serve our docs is trying to say, hey, here's where you're stuck. Think about maybe these 3 next action items that will help you get unstuck. Okay, so message that below, Clarity Quiz, comment as you will with anything else if you have any other questions. But stop trying to outmarket a follow-up task. Install the perfect patient flow with clear stages and 1 next action per person.